Hey guys, just doing a bit of a test run video, new to YouTube and all that kind of thing. This is my comic book collection, been collecting about 25 odd years. Moved into hardcovers, trade paperbacks the last couple of years. Before that, just collecting floppies mainly, off and on. Got about 4,500 floppies. Struggling to find somewhere to keep them all, so I decided to switch to hardcovers, trade paperbacks, etc. This is what I picked up in the last couple of years. Mainly Marvel, DC, a little bit of Image. But yeah, grew up big fan of Marvel, not so much DC. Still thought they were pretty cool, but just never really got into them. And obviously didn't know where to start. But jumped in a few years back. Pretty much started off with Geoff Johns' Green Lantern Rebirth. Picked up a lot of other Geoff Johns stuff after that. Read Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, went back and read the original Crisis on Infinite Earths, all the way up through Flashpoint, New 52, and got really stuck in with DC Rebirth, got a big chunk of the trades and also most of the deluxes that have come out. Marvel, big fan of Spider-Man and the X-Men. The animated X-Men series in the 90s is probably what got me into comics in the first place. And then, discovered Spider-Man later on and probably found him to be more enjoyable to read than the X-Men. And predominantly followed him. Then when Brian Michael Bendis came on the Avengers, picked up the Avengers and have basically read that ever since. Just getting back into X-Men though now. Recently bought all the Claremont omnibuses and OHCs with the aim of getting all the entirety of Uncanny X-Men Volume 1 collected. Upcoming purchases will be the Age of Apocalypse omnibuses, and then the Onslaught X-Men omnibus. What else am I reading from Marvel at the moment? Big fan of Daredevil, got all the Miller omnibuses, plus the Bendis and Brubaker ones. All the Mark Waid OHCs, and I've read some of Charles Soule's current run, but I've got to pick up the rest of it in trades as I started reading it in singles. Ultimate Spider-Man, another one from Bendis, big fan of that. Ultimate Universe was pretty cool to start with, lost its way later on. Kind of glad it's done with now, but Miles Morales was someone that came out of that and into the 616. That was a really cool character, so it's good to see him continue on. Guardians are pretty cool, DNA's run, I've got most of that, or all of it, in the War of Kings Omnis in the bottom left hand corner there. Read all of Bendis' stuff, got to pick it up in OHC at some point, and I'm going to pick up the new trades of Jerry Dugan, I think it is, especially since some of the storylines currently are dealing with Adam Warlock and the Infinity Stones, obviously loosely linked to the movies that are coming out next year and 2019. Bit of stuff from Dark Horse there too, Hellboy, BPRD, and I just got in Abe Sapien hardcover today. IDW Transformers and Ninja Turtles, big fan of Transformers growing up as a kid. Haven't watched all the animated series, but was a big fan of it. I've got some of it on DVD, but I've just got to pick up the rest. And Ninja Turtles was a cool series. The 80s or early 90s series was pretty goofy, but that was probably my first exposure to it. And then the series that came out in I think 2003 was obviously more in line with the original comics. Super awesome, that series. Watched all the first season. Got to pick up the rest, or all of it, on DVD at some point, but obviously some of it's hard to find. Goes for high prices on eBay and Amazon, etc. And watched a little bit of the CGI animated series that's out now. Probably not as good as the 2003 series, but still pretty good. Cool that it brings in some characters like Usagi Yojimbo that sort of had like loose ties to the Turtles over the years. And obviously all the, mainstays like the Krang and Shredder and Bebop, Rocksteady, etc. Big fan of Star Wars too. You can see some of the deluxe hardcovers there next to the Rebirth hardcovers. That's your main series that kicked off with Aaron, and then the Vader series by Kieran Gillen, Kanan, and the 3 mini-series Lando, Leia, and Chewbacca. And I'm looking to pick up some of the trades that have come out in recent months. Poe Dameron. There's a Phasma mini that leads into The Last Jedi. And some of the Darth Maul, I think there's 2 Darth Maul series. One was a reprint of a Dark Horse series before Marvel got the rights back. And there was another series that Marvel put out, I think by Charles Soule. What else is up there? I think that's mainly it. A few art books and stuff, played a lot of Warcraft back in the day, or World of Warcraft. Not so much now, just because I don't have the time, but I've got most of the collector's editions. You can't actually see them, they're in the top left hand corner there on the top of the bookshelf. But I've got some of the art books that came with those games. A couple of absolutes there too. Morrison's Batman and Robin, and also Batman Incorporated. There's just been an announcement. Information's come out online that most of his runs are going to be collected in Omnibus, so I'll probably pick that up. It'll be double dipping, but I think absolutes are probably too big in my opinion. Probably should have picked that up from the name, but oh well. But it'd be good to have it in Omnibus. Hopefully Final Crisis is collected in that. There's a bit of uncertainty around exactly what those omnibuses will contain, but it'd be good to have Final Crisis in oversized. I've currently got it, but it's in premiere size along with Infinite Crisis, and the omnibus of that's also just been announced as getting a reprint, so it'd be good to pick up that, as well as all the tie-ins that go with it. Day of Vengeance, OMAC, Ran Thanagar War, and Villains United, I think was the other one. Plus the Sacrifice storyline, I think that is Wonder Woman and Superman, so that'd be awesome. Read it all before, but cool series, and it's a big tentpole event for DC that changed a lot of characters and affected a lot of different characters, and a lot of cool stories and books, were launched out of it type thing. And it's Crisis, a crisis, so it's going to be important. Big fan of Batman too, obviously. There's the No Man's Land trades over there, and some of the thicker trades that came afterwards. Brubaker's Murder, A Fugitive, and the War Games. Read all the New 52 by Snyder, mainly in floppies, and I've got some of his Rebirth stuff, All Star Batman, which I haven't read yet, but I will, and I'll pick up all the metal trades when they come out in hardcovers. Haven't read any of it, don't read any singles at the moment, and don't plan to, which is a bit of a frustration at times, because you've got to try and avoid spoilers and that sort of thing online, but I've done pretty well to avoid as many as I can. About the only thing I know that relates to the story is the fact that there's a dark multiverse and there's like multiple dark Batman, but that's about it. But yeah, that's about it. Anyway guys, brief overview, first video, new to YouTube, gonna see how it goes. Been thinking about doing it for a while, but wasn't really sure where to kick off, so gonna check this online and see how it goes. So if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that kind of thing, and hope to see you guys again sometime. Thanks.